guys, it's Bree Simulated here. Today I am doing the No Walls build challenge. So I saw this challenge first on James Turner's channel, which is The Sim Supply. I'll link his video down below. And I think in his video he talks about who he got the challenge from, so you can see the original creator from there. So basically what this challenge is all about is that you're not allowed to use any walls. So that's basically the only rule, no walls, as in you're not allowed to use the wall tool and make walls. So what I did instead was initially use fences. I felt like fences were a little bit cheaty, like I shouldn't be using the fences, but I think it's okay to use some fences, and what I did was I ended up replacing a lot of the white fencing with other items. So some good ideas are curtains that I'm using here in the bedroom. That is an idea I definitely got from James's video. Another idea that he came up with was mirrors and some wall dividers like these. I found some really interesting ones like these ones. They've got glass in them which sort of imitates windows. So yeah, those glass slats make it look as though it's a wall with thin windows. So I thought that was a cool idea. Now right now I'm just trying to find something to link the top part of the wall to the columns, because in this game we don't have the ability to make the columns the same height as that decorative piece, because it's not the same height as a wall, it's not a set height, it's just a decorative piece, so that's why it doesn't line up. But I couldn't find anything, and I did like how that part was taller, and I sort of incorporated it into like a headboard for the bed in a minute. Looking back on it, I wish I had have replaced that bed with the 4-post bed that has the curtains on it, because my plan was to originally link curtains to all 4 posts of this bed, but I didn't end up doing that. So that's a good idea if you wanted to imitate some more privacy, to have that 4-poster bed that has the curtains from, I think it's from City Living, because that would, like, you could pretend that at night time they could pull across those curtains for extra privacy. So yeah, basically the challenge of not being able to use walls is that you have to find a way to create segments, so different rooms, like divided up in some way without using the actual walls, and then also make it look as though it could be safe and secure and private without actually using the wall tools. So in a way, like, somebody could easily break into this home, no doubt, but because it's Sims and we do not have burglars, it's pretty easy to pretend and make out that you're all safe, you're all good. So one of the things I was thinking of is that these people, I imagined a couple, could be like quite outdoorsy. I reckon this lot with some adjustments could even look good in outdoor retreat in their in that world. Oh, I forget what the location's called, but yeah, I thought they could be kind of outdoorsy because, well, they're literally living outdoors. They have no ceiling, but that's okay. This should also be called the no ceiling and challenge, because when you don't have walls, you can't really have a ceiling. I guess I could have placed, like, gone up a level on the columns and placed ceiling like that, but it sort of felt as though it wouldn't make sense. Like, once you see the rest of the build, you realise why it doesn't make sense, especially with that bedroom, because the walls are 2 different heights with that decorative piece in the columns. Sizing down those trees was an idea I got from one of James's other videos. That was his no neutrals build. So he did that with his build because he was doing a lot of oranges and greens. So yeah, got that idea from there. So pretty much if you're doing this challenge, or if you want to try out not using as many walls, using some different things here and there instead, definitely go into the decorative category and then into miscellaneous, because that's where I just found so many things. In fact, I almost found too many things. Like, I would do all this hard work and make something work, and then I go into that category and find all these things I could have simply just placed. You'll see that later on. I try really hard over with like a hot tub, and I like move up these swimming lane lines and put curtains on them and whatnot, and I end up replacing it with a something from Spa Day or Outdoor or Perfect Patio, I think it was, something like that. It's the slats with the tea candles on it, and I wish I had found that earlier because it would have saved me so much time. And yeah, this video actually took me an hour. Like, at one point I was concerned it was going to take up more room on my computer than I had of filming, because I'd just been filming for so long I didn't even realise it had been a whole hour. So yeah, this is sort of the idea that I came up with, that they'd be entertainers, like have lots of friends over, visit their outdoor home. Because I had a big huge table, and there isn't chairs on the other side, but you can put them there if you wish. The main reason why I didn't put chairs on the other side is because the kitchen is kind of all squished in there, and if you were to do too many, it was sort of gonna like intrude either on the bedroom or the kitchen, and I didn't want it to make anything not work, like disrupt the pathing of any of the Sims. So yeah, that's sort of what I ended up doing there. Just putting in a bin and a letterbox right now. And I think, yeah, one of the biggest issues, like if this was actually your house, would be that somebody could just walk straight in that front gate. Like, there's no stopping anyone. I guess something that you could do to prevent that is, like with the Sims, you could build a fence with a gate. But I felt as though using fences with gates was, again, a little bit cheaty. Like, I wanted to push myself a little bit more, even if it made it a bit less realistic. And I only have a gate around the back where the whole fence joins with another idea that I had that I thought was kind of clever, and I didn't even know the item existed. So here I am just doing some more like living and entertaining space. Over that way we've got very dark browns and earthy tones, and then it's linked back in with this hot tub here. But those earthy tones are all in the kitchen, and then we've got a bit of a barbecue grilling area with the seating and a bar with some bar stools. And right over here I'm doing more like comfort sitting. This is something that's a little bit more realistic to an extent for these people to sit at every night. So it's realistic that they'd have a barbecue every night. They could, but it's not realistic that they would. But it is realistic that people go and sit on their couches and watch a movie, you know, or watch TV every night. So this is my idea I had to mimic walling over here. This is a point when I decided that I didn't want this place to look like I was trying to make walls. I wanted to make it look like these people semi-live outside. Like, they like to be one with nature. And don't worry, I get rid of that. I know it wasn't going to line up. But yeah, these people would prefer to be out in nature. They don't mind that they have open ceiling, there's bugs flying in and whatnot. Like, I imagine these Sims being very outdoory and buying a lot of bug spray every week. At this point I find these really cute curtains that are slightly transparent from Parenthood that fit perfectly on this wall without me having to like put columns or anything, because some of the curtains are just a bit too high over this decorative piece, so it doesn't work. And as much as I like this, I end up finding something a little later on that I think just makes a little bit more sense. Like, those don't line up perfectly with the holes in the decorative piece, which is fine because it's meant to mimic, like, you can pull it over and cover it up. But I found something that made a little bit more sense, especially in the sense of these people don't mind being outdoors. Here is where I waste my time doing this. So yeah, whilst I'm doing this, because it's sort of irrelevant at this stage, I just wanted to talk a bit about the bathroom, which you can see right off to the right there. So I used the shower from Outdoor Retreat, the one that has like a tent with it, because people are comfortable showering even when other people are around using that shower, because it acts as if they can't see, as if they don't care that they're having a shower in the same room. So if somebody was washing their hands and somebody was showering, it's fine. They're not going to get embarrassed. So that was my idea with using that one. Even though it's not the most attractive shower, like it doesn't look the best, it was the most practical in that sense. And then the toilet is behind that piece of fence. I'm hoping that they might be okay to use that. Like, especially if you just had a couple, like, that were in a relationship, they shouldn't mind using that. I think you might run into issues when guests come over using that toilet. I'm not sure if they would be okay with using that in front of other people, but basically the toilet's sort of hidden, and then there is a decorative divider that has holes in it. Then I did bamboo and then a fish tank. Like, if you stood right up close to the fish tank and looked through, I'm sure you could position yourself so that you could see through to the toilet, but like it's pretty good. It's pretty well hidden. So here's where I find these little like dangly, jiggly, like jingly things. Like, you know, when you walk through these, if you were to, it would like jingle jangle everywhere. You know what I mean? So I positioned these all along this wall, and it does look a bit much now, but don't worry, they get segregated a bit later. But I just thought that was so much more of a better idea, because it creates a little bit more of like more dimension and more textures than just having the lace curtains or the whatever they would be made of, I don't know. And right now I'm just trying to get some lighting in, because I'm realizing it's quite dark and we can't just have ceiling lights everywhere. And I found these little lanterns that raise up quite nicely into this fence and make it look as if they're hanging and like sort of positioned within the fence, like they're meant to be there. And let me know if you don't think these are evenly spaced. I can't tell for the life of me. I got couches out to try and measure it up to see if they are, but for some reason to me it just doesn't look like they are, no matter what I do. So let me know if there's something I'm doing wrong or that you can tell. And if you download this, feel free to move it if you don't think they're evenly spaced. Here's me counting frantically, placing couches in between, and look, it looks like they're fine like that, but to the naked eye it doesn't seem right. And I'm just adding in some more lighting over here now, putting it up on top of the like sides of the hot tub, as if they would have something sitting on there balancing to keep the area lit. And I think this is when I decide that we need a cinema, an outdoor cinema. I was just going to get a little wall-mounted TV, but then I realised that this makes more sense for these people if they're quite extravagant entertainers. Like, if they like to have lots of people over, a big cinema would make sense. Right now I'm looking for some inspiration from James's video. I thought he had used something that could slant from that top black part down to the columns, but I checked and it was something, I wasn't thinking of the right thing. I'm silly. But now I'm thinking if we should have some more privacy with the toilet, but I don't think we need it. I think it should be fine. And now I'm just adding in some lighting into the bathroom, the bedroom, the bedroom, sorry. Oh, and there you can see the headboard I made with the hedges. I thought that was pretty nifty. And I'm trying to get in a dresser somewhere, but I don't think it would have worked in the bedroom. I just don't think there's enough room to get onto both sides of the beds that way. So I end up adding it into the living room, making it look a bit like it's just a end table, but they could have their clothes in there as well. So that goes right there, and at this point I realize I need a divider between the living and the bathroom area, and then from the kitchen area. Like, it always sort of just one, and the couch did an alright job at dividing it, but just not good enough now that we had the cinema. I felt like there needed to be a little bit of something more to prevent the noise would still go through, but you know, to prevent the movie from coming through. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea, having a little cinema there. Like, they could use that every day, like with a projector. They could use that every day to watch their TV or movies or whatever. But then also when they have people over, it'd be a pretty cool, you know, when you go over to their house, you'd always think of them as having that big cinema. Here's the point where I find this little fence thing with tea lights, and I'm trying to find a way to implement it into this build, because I think it's just absolutely perfect in the idea of a no walls build. And I'm just lining up that so the candles don't look as misplaced, because I've sort of merged two together because they didn't fit nicely with one or two, so I had to make it like 1.8. And I just wanted to add a little bit more privacy to the hot tub. Like, now it looks a little bit too exposed, whereas before it looked too closed off, because I guess from here you can still technically see into the living room, which wasn't really what I wanted. So I'm doing some more raising of curtains and blinds and bits and bobs to try and get something to semi-cover this up. And this looks like you could pull it down this like halfway, or you could pull it all the way up so it would just be like a line of blinds, like it wouldn't be in the way at all. But yeah, something that really annoys me is every time you pick something up like that, it goes all the way back down to the floor. Like, why doesn't it just stay where it was? I'm sure if you've ever been in a situation like this where you're raising a lot of things up and trying to get them even, you can understand that frustration. Also, I was trying for the life of me to get this curtain piece to work. I thought it looked so awesome as like something to like cover up a space, but I just couldn't get it to work. So I ended up using these little plants that don't work exactly as I would like them to, but at this point I was getting frustrated. I was nearing an hour. It was time to go to bed. But no. I need some more lighting. I think I was trying to look for a rug. I wish I had laundry day so I could place down one of those woven rugs, but I don't yet. And yeah, I just need some more lighting in the living area. It's looking a little bit dull. I'm just getting in these curtains here because I felt like I wasn't using those curtains enough because they are such a good idea. Like, because they're sort of transparent, it would create a barrier and it would stop, like, it would make the rooms more segregated, but you could still see through and light would still pass through. So yeah, that's the end of this build. I hope you enjoy it and give this challenge a try yourself. I hope you have a snazzy day and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!